second question here. I'm a male, 38 years old. I'm a Christian. I'm married with 2 wonderful children, a boy and a girl. I live with and witnessed my parents' ill treatment and assaulting one another until I was 28 when I left home for school. I've been betrayed and rejected. My childhood experience was traumatic. Incidentally, it draws me back to the past. I don't know how to love and trust. How can I effectively connect to my wife and children as I struggle to express my love despite her resilience to make our relationship work? I think that's a very, very touching, things that have happened in the past, especially abuse and all of that. Now, the past is affecting his present and probably the future. So the question is, how can he make his relationship to work? So we want to go first.
Yeah, I think I'll go. This is an unfortunate situation for sure, but it is not uncommon. Lots of children are experiencing this. Many of us too, we have grown up with one form of trauma or the other. From the home environment. Not all of us grew up in that perfect, ideal home. But unfortunately, we often don't think about the impact of this traumatic episodes in the life of the children. But this is an example. This is a 38-year-old man, married. You would think, from the outside everything looks good. They have children, and in every ramification you can assume that it looks all good. It's all glittering. But again, there's trauma underneath. And so this man is being honest, he's been honest to say that I don't know how to love, I don't know how to trust, and miss many other things that could be going on within him. I can imagine the insecurity too, as a result of the traumatic experience that he had growing up from that toxic environment. The question he asks is, how can he effectively connect? We cannot give what we don't have. And because he did not grow up in that kind of an environment, a healthy environment, so to say, it is important that he has to kind of almost go back into your past and deal with that. It has to be dealt with. We cannot just, put Band-Aid on and think, all is well. All is not well, and I believe he must have gotten to the point where he realized that no, all is not well. Because I believe, before he could approach a woman to say, I want to marry you, and he has stayed in this relationship, they have 2 children, he must have been thinking, okay, I think I got it, I think it's going to be better, I think until, right before his face, he's now recognizing the fact that maybe there's something there. So I will suggest that, please go for counseling. Go for therapy. You really have some work to do to dig deep into your past. It's pain, it's grief. You have to grieve the childhood that you did not have, and also maybe you can use this as a motivation, because what you're doing by not 100% being present in your family, to your wife and to your children, if you don't love, if you don't trust, you are inevitably transferring the same trauma that you experienced from your parents. You are transferring it to your children little by little. You may not be, you and your wife might not be doing the physical, but it looks like emotionally you are not there. So you have some work to do, and I want to say I appreciate the humility, of him coming out and saying that I'm struggling in this area, I need help. So please go ahead, go for the help, do the work, and I tell you, you come out and be the best version of yourself. That thing that was trauma to you, you can now use it even as a catalyst to be a better person, and to be even you watch your children thriving, you watch your wife thrive as you thrive alongside with them.
All right, over to you, man.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said, and one thing is that for him to have realized that there is a problem, is to some extent at least half of that problem has been solved. Because many people are living in ignorance of their attitude or their relationship with their spouse, that they don't even realize whether they are hurting them or not. But for this person to come out, I need help. I know things are not going right.
And that's a man.
And that is a man for that. So definitely, you need to sit back, have a reflection where you are coming from, just as you have been told. Have a reflection. You need to go for therapy, you know. And in going for therapy, you need to highlight where that seed has been planted in you, because you are the one that know that seed. It could be seed of unforgiveness that is hurting you. Something must have been hurting you that made you not to see what the positive side of the person that you marry. Because she said that even though the wife is trying,
really
you understand? So if that seed is not being taken away, that has been planted, is not totally cut off, there is no way that you can appreciate the partner. So sit down, look at where you are coming from, and highlight what is wrong, so that when you get to the counselor, you'll be able to open up that this is my problem. Is it the aspect that you have seen your parents beating you, hurting you, and then some people might be sexual abuse, you understand? And they are just living in the ignorance of holding it to themselves. They don't want to lose. Another thing is you need to forgive. You have to give room to forgiveness. Forgiveness is not for the person that offends you. Forgiveness is for you. Because when you are holding somebody in your heart, so definitely that thing will be hurting you, and you will just be striving to revenge. So, and then the more that you are trying to revenge, you are rooting yourself down the lane, and you won't be able to get out of it. And you won't be able to appreciate whatever thing that your partner is doing. So try to forgive yourself and try to look spiritual aspect of it. When you are the going for the therapy, is you are going as a professional, they will talk to you, they will take you step by step what you need to do. The spiritual aspect of it needs to be done too. You need to commit yourself to the Lord.
That's right.
Release yourself in totality. Open up yourself. Open your wound to the Lord. Don't hold it back. Open your wound to the Lord. Naked everything before God and say, God, take this thing away from me. And thirdly, I will say that you need to open up to your wife. Yeah. Your wife also can be a good therapist to you. Open up. I know that this is my shortcoming. I've not been doing the right thing that I'm supposed to do as a man. And this is the reason I want you to help me. Because your wife will be able to understand. And whenever you see the trigger, she will be able to know that, no, I have to calm down. Because I need to be there for you. And two of you as a family, hold hands together and fight the battle. That is why I've said that half problem has been solved, because he has identified within him that this is a problem that is affecting my home.
That's right.
And with that, I believe that.
Yeah. So you mentioned some things, and I mean, both of you have responded well. The openness, I just want to talk a little bit about that. You mentioned openness, which I think is very crucial for him to be able to work well with the wife.
Yes.
Because the wife might not know why he's responding the way he's responding.
Yes.
And I think we all need to come to the place of vulnerability. At least to our spouse.
That's right.
You know, if the wife doesn't know what he had gone through, might not understand why he's responding in a certain way. But once the wife knows, that may even solve half of the problem.
Yeah.
And I just want us to talk, are there any barriers to openness in this kind of situation? Are there, because sometimes, and wrote down when you mentioned that he's a man.
Yes.
You know, a lot of time we think men, men shouldn't open up
Yes.
too much or try to be strong, don't be seen as being weak. But being vulnerable to our spouse is not a sign of weakness at all.
It's not.
In fact, it's a sign of strength.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to
Absolutely.
comment about these.
Yes.
What are the things that might be like barriers to openness, especially to the spouse?
Yeah, I think you just mentioned it, Dr. Wujori. Like it's there, and the fear of if I'm vulnerable, especially to our spouse, unfortunately, because it's kind of like, okay, I have to be macho. I'm the man of the house. Like this is, and society has placed that that role. So we are all playing roles, right? The society has placed a role on a man that you have to be strong, you have to be no emotion, you have to be all of this macho in nature, and that's been macho that has killed many men, because men do have emotions too. They do fall, and they should, and they should be able to acknowledge their emotion. They should be able to, alongside cry out for help if they do need help. Like they will at some point or the other. We all do need help, including men. And why I mentioned this is a man, because most society expects men. You don't cry. You don't show emotion. You don't go to a therapist. A man doesn't go. You don't go to therapy. So all of that. But for a man to acknowledge the fact that this is where I am at this point in my life, and I do need help. I definitely commend him for that. So back to your question, the factors. It's if I show this woman or this usually the woman, if I show this woman my vulnerability, she's not going to respect me anymore. Then I am less of a man, right? I am not playing my role as a husband or as a father. I'm supposed to be strong, But I think we need to change the narrative that no. Every man, whether you are old or you're young, you have emotion, and you should be able to. I buy into that. Express your emotion. I don't do the men don't cry. My son, cry if you need to cry.
The way I respond to that when people say men don't cry and things like that.
Yes.
Our example for people that are Christians.
Yes.
Jesus.
He
wept. When Lazarus died.
Yes.
He wept publicly.
Absolutely.
So I don't think men should. Of course, we're not saying men should be cry baby. We're not saying that.
No.
But we are saying it's okay to be emotional.
Absolutely.
And when it has to do with spouses,
yes,
I think when a man is vulnerable to the wife, any correct woman, let me put it that way,
yes,
will respect the man for even being vulnerable. So a man shouldn't think that, if I do that, then he will start thinking, no, a man shouldn't think like that.
Actually, I think that can even take your relationship to another level. Right? To another level, to know that, yes, if my husband can be this vulnerable with me, then I am going to go deeper, and that can strengthen relationship for sure.
That is why it is necessary that you marry your friend. Yeah, it's very important. You marry your friend, somebody that you can close your eyes and lean on. And if the reason why a man will say, I don't want my wife to look at this, might be that lack of confidence. Doesn't have confidence in the wife that, if I tell her, maybe probably she's going to discuss this thing to the outsiders, and from there people will hear about my weakness.
I should probably talk to women about that too, because don't take it as a weakness, or as okay, now you have known his vulnerability, I'm going to use it against you. Sorry, please, let's not do that. We have to be able to come around our husbands, the men in our lives, to say, I got your back. Regardless of what like you're going through right now, I got your back, and we can work together.
So on that note, I will just summarize by saying that it's a very good line to summarize this: working together. So the man needs to open us to the wife, be vulnerable to the wife, and the wife should also respond by not using that against him, even supporting him more, loving him more, and helping him through it. And the second thing we have said is be open to therapy if you need one. And one of the best therapies is even self-therapy, and I will explain what I mean by that. Acknowledging that these events happened.
Yes.
Sometimes people try to say, oh, it didn't happen.
Self-denial.
Self-denial. Yeah, acknowledge it. And, part of self-therapy is actually being vulnerable to the wife and say, this happened. And they can work on it, together.
That's right.
Work on it together. If you need additional therapy, whatever would help him.
That's right.
But the goal is eventually he should be able to love his wife. He should be able to detach himself from the past. It may take some time, but that should be the goal.
Yes.
Otherwise, he carries this burden from the past into the present and into the future. So, to the person who has asked this question, we want to salute you to even open up and share and say, oh, this is what I'm going through. It means maybe 20% of the problem is solved because he could keep this within him and not respond. But you can go a step further by being vulnerable to your spouse, seeking for therapy when you need one, and knowing that ultimate aim is that you should get to a point in which the past does not affect your present
and your future. That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.